Sir, this second meeting, so this really not gonna be an open meeting, it's just gonna be separate rooms.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, a finance report. Anything?
Just annual report stuff.
Okay,
But yeah,
code enforcement, animal control.
that is actually also picking up. Just now we're starting our first efforts, going through town, some issues with, vehicles parked on grass, have some homeowners we need to talk to, so, no, nothing major.
Okay. Under other business, we like to put down who volunteers every year. I would just ask, I know, again, Rhea helps out, but with our flowers or flower bed out in front, there's 3 or 4 ladies that do that, and they'd appreciate any help they can get. Okay, old business, second reading of ordinance 372. Ordinance number 372, an ordinance of the city of Crooks, South Dakota, amending the 2023 revised Crooks zoning regulations by amending chapter 12, additional use regulations, section 12.10, landscaping standards, section 12.14, architectural standards. And we can have comment about it. I like Jeff, our planning and zoning guy, to talk about it, because tonight we either voted in or voted out. And I'd like Jeff to explain what he's updated or what.
Sure. What you have before you is an amendment to the current landscaping ordinance or landscaping standards that Crooks has. And what we found is Crooks is moving forward. We have our little industrial park out here now. We have more property. We now have property clear out to the interstate. We found that what we currently use doesn't quite handle the type of requirements that we would like it to use, as far as light industrial park, heavy industrial, anything related to what requires any sort of landscaping. So what the P&Z group did was go through the ordinance. We worked with CCOG, looked at a variety of different neighboring communities, what Sioux Falls has, and ended up coming up with a version or an amendment to what we currently have that will use a point system, which is something that's very common in the planning and zoning world, and in my world, in the architectural world, we do this almost every day. So what it will do is when somebody comes in for a building permit, it gives us a pathway that right as part of that building permit review, we say, okay, as an industrial property, your requirements are X, Y, and Z. Very simple calculation is based off of square footage of the property, which we have at the time we get the building permit. And it will just help keep things moving forward, keeping us current and help us be productive.
I think
Certainly is a recommendation from
Right.
planning and zoning.
I just have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
How does enacting this new ordinance, how does it affect existing property?
It does not affect existing property.
Okay,
It only affects property that comes into play after the time that this is actually included or amended in.
okay. And then once it's enacted in and a new whatever property it is, does that become part of code enforcement then?
That'll be his
It
responsibility,
is part of code enforcement.
but
But who polices it?
I see, especially in some of the areas where they put, been required to do berming and stuff, they're required so many trees on top of a berm, and, in 3 years, they're dead. And that defeats the purpose.
so. Is that something you will help or oversee? I think that was
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my question.
Yeah, it
Who
falls
polices
under,
it?
it falls under our building code.
And this is only on commercial property, or is this
It
on,
covers all property, but the way that we worked it for residential property, you plant grass, you're gonna meet the requirements. I mean, as much as we like everybody to plant trees, we understand trees cost money. So we were pretty careful of how the group, worked the points. They went through several revisions for us. But yeah, it covers anything that is built in Crookston.
So what are the points and credits get the owner?
Say that again.
What are the points and credits getting the, what if a new business says, I don't wanna plant trees? Are we gonna fine them, not give them, what are we gonna do?
There's, in that ordinance, that ties back into the sort of fines that the city of Crookston already has imposed.
Like what? I'm new here.
I can't tell you without looking it up. We didn't dream up anything new, it goes back to what's already
Yeah,
in
there.
place.
No. General penalty provision.
Okay, is there a motion to approve or disapprove?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Can we table it? Come back to it?
yeah, I need to look more into this.
Okay, so then motion dies for lack of second.
Yeah, so without a second, the motion just dies. So,
So, and then motion to table and reconsider at which meeting?
Next month.
April?
Yeah.
Okay. So then,
okay, there's a motion to,
who makes that motion?
Eric,
Eric did. I'll second that.
Alan second, to revisit it next month. Roll call vote?
Let me write this out, so that'll be April 13th meeting. Okay, Shooty,
Alright.
Harstead,
Nay.
Fire,
Aye.
majority aye. Motion carries.
Okay, new business. Resolution number 2026-16. A resolution of the City Council of Crooks, South Dakota approving the annexation agreement between the City of Crooks and DWBP LLC. And, when we annexed that land in out by the interstate, for years evidently it's been wrong on the plat, so it's about a, I don't know, 30, 40 foot wide and 1,000 feet long or something, but we want that. For us, it was, basically a no man's land, so this is a resolution to approve the annexation.
Move to approve.
I have a question for you on that. Is that the part where they're gonna build the,
No,
Don't get it.
that is not by the.
no, this is Crooks, City of Crooks land,
Okay.
yeah.
You said it was out by- okay.
yeah.
This is like-
All those businesses out at the interstate are City of Crooks on the south side.
Alan moved.
I move.
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call vote then.
Roll call vote?
Shooty,
Aye.
Harstead,
Aye.
Fire.
Aye.
Alright.
So,
Yeah.
resolution 2026-17, a resolution to annex property contiguous to the City of Crooks upon receipt of petitions for voluntary annexation. And this deals with the same.
This is actually, so the first one is approving the annexation agreement, which the city enters with any voluntary annexation to outline what will be done, what will not be done. This one is annexing the actual property into the City of Crooks. One is an administrative, they're both administrative steps, but they go hand in hand, but separate approvals are needed. So this is for the physical piece, to have that land within the boundaries.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Fire.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 2026-18, I don't think I have that.
Second, Butch.
There you
Okay, resolution 2026-18. A resolution of the City Council of Crook, South Dakota, transferring spending authority from the contingency function to meet the obligations of the city for 2026. And it shows right on here, it amounts to $112.
Correct, it is for, other protection for the warning sirens, since we do consumption method, we need to get the authority in place.
Move to approve.
Second,
I'll second it.
roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Fire.
Aye.
Okay, motion to determine and make a finding of common nuisance for violations of chapter 7.05, section 7.0503.
What this does is the new city code has identified certain recurring nuisances such as overgrown vegetation and lack of snow removal. Rather than us having to send courtesy letters, we're publishing 2 notices in the paper. A notice to property owners, if you don't clear it, we will send a notice to demand, abate unlawful conditions. So steps is the courtesy letter sending. That is very common among other towns. City of Sioux Falls does it, other smaller towns. It is because it is a recurring thing, overgrown vegetation and lack of snow removal. So, but the council needs to make a determination that that is a recurring issue per city code. And then have me go ahead and publish that notice.
There a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I believe this just cleans up the process to get it done, so we can get it done quicker than, mailing, getting mail back and so on. So, roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Fire.
Aye.
Okay, a motion to designate director and alternate director for Dakota Mainstem Regional Water Incorporated.
This is essentially the annual appointment for the director. At the last meeting, you had a delegate to go to the annual conference. This is to serve continuously on that board. Right now, it's Alan and Butch. Alan being the director and Butch being the alternate. They want us to reapprove that by motion at a meeting, so it's
I'll
on the
make a
agenda.
motion for Alan with Butch as the alternate.
And before we vote, we are part of Dakota Mainstem, which is the water line like Lewis and Clark, only it's up north. It kind of follows Highway 34 or 14 if I'm close. And we'll bring water from the Missouri over to the eastern South Dakota and to serve cities. I think Sioux Falls even belongs to it, but it's also to serve going north up to Brookings and so on. So we are part of that. If you think of Lewis and Clark 25 years ago, and some people said, well, I don't know if I want to be part of it or belong to it, and some of them didn't pay in, and now they wish they would have because water is short. So this is probably 20 years from now that this water line would actually happen. So roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Fire.
Aye.
Now a motion to authorize use of water tap fees for DGR Engineering invoice DW number 3, project authorized transfer of funds from our South Dakota FIT account.
Okay, so we had some engineering overage on the project. In the interim, I would like to use water tap fees to pay for the invoice that then gets replenished once we get the reimbursement back from the state. I need a motion to do that. I'd like to have it in the minutes. So,
Move to approve.
Second.
And again, South Dakota FIT is where we put money in. We can take it out in 3 months or 6 months. We get interest on it, but it makes it easier than to lock it in for a year when we need money for something. And so that's what that's for. The engineering services were for the water line along West Ave here that went to the new water tower. So roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Byer.
Aye.
Motion to designate city personnel as code enforcement officer, utility matters, and animal control officer. And did we have somebody in mind?
Well, Todd needs to be appointed
Okay.
in addition to me because he's taken on that role. This essentially gives him designates him additionally to this. So just need to have that in the meeting minutes as a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, and again, Todd Onken is a new hire. He came from a gas company, so he's, I'm not gonna say an expert, but he's got 25 years or 30 of gas, and he'll work with Jason, but he also works overall with utilities and water and snow and so on. So he started December, January, and then he was gone, and now he's back full-time the 1st of March. So if you see a different new guy, that's who it is. And roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Byer.
Aye.
Now a motion to cancel DocuSign e-signing service. And I'll let Tobias explain that.
We rolled out DocuSign right around and shortly after Corona. Adobe has added these tools. We have an Adobe Pro license. Essentially, we have overlap now. We budgeted for this year. I'd still like to get the authority in place to cancel the service as it's a savings for us. And have authorized me to send a cancellation and whatever we need to do effective for, March 31st of this year.
Motion to cancel.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Harsted,
Aye.
Byer.
Aye.
A motion to authorize preparation and signing of reoccurring rental community center agreement between the city of Crooks and Just for Kicks. Establish rental rates for reoccurring rental, Just for Kicks, establish other fees and miscellaneous items. And I believe this refers to the dance classes that they hold here. And
Yeah, so we need to draw up a specific agreement. We have a recurring rental agreement, however, that seems to be insufficient we use it for nonprofits usually for a few dates. These are 70 dates, so we need to have something drawn up by Patrick that enshrines what the rate. So tonight, we need the authority to obviously prepare the agreement, set the rate, which we haven't increased in years, but needs to be, the recommendation by staff is 125 an evening, where we guarantee the facility that has to be paid regardless of use, where we set it aside. We also are asking that a cleaning deposit be included in the contract because we have had insufficient cleanup where staff then has to go, to clean up the bathrooms or the floors. Now, that has improved. However, if it's not in there, we still have to do it, and then we would have a cleaning fee of $30 per hour. And then also another item to consider is that we do not permit setup or use of the hall prior to 5 PM. That way we can, everything is shut down after regular business hours. So obviously, we're gonna be reasonable and good about that, but what we don't want is, oh, let's move something half hour ahead. Right now, those are just be the parameters of that. Now, once this motion is on the table with all these points, we will relay that to them and then see what the response is and hopefully have something in April, an agreement to approve or execute to at least make it part of the record. So,
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Open comments now.
Now we're to the section for open comments, but I've got Lucky Lads here, and I'd like her, to tell us what she wants to do.
So we do a St. Patrick's Day celebration at Lucky Lads every year. Oh, it's gonna be March 21st. And we just want to do a parade through a little part of the town, but we have to cross the main highway a couple of times. So this is kind of get the community involved. Not community, like that. Then we have all the stuff going on at Lucky Lads that day also, and we're going to do some things also. Just for community involvement.
Okay. We have to vote on that?
No, I bet just to put it in the record, yeah, because they don't need a special event permit like when a retro ordinance, but I know she'd requested, or Lucky Lads have requested to obviously get okay that we can coordinate with the sheriff and all that, whatever needs to get done.
And we'll,
Okay, I'm sorry, Ms. Wiltshire. My bad. Okay, I'll do better. Essentially, they've asked to be put on the agenda so they can talk about this, and it also helps, then that way we can coordinate with the sheriff and so forth. It's just more so an FYI. I mean, the map's in the meeting packet too. There are some printed off ones, so, yeah.
okay, well, thanks for coming to us. If you've lived here long enough, in the past, it was a parade and they just called it Follow the Leader, because in the past, some of the folks that were up here didn't think we should have a parade. So, thanks for coming up here. I want to make one more introduction. She's sitting up here, Carrie Sanderson, a person I know. She's running for county commissioner.
Almost, but if you don't mind, I'll
Yeah,
introduce myself. I'm Carrie Sanderson. I'm from Flandreau, and
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm glad to be here tonight because I'm running for the South Dakota House of
Yeah.
Representatives to represent you in District 25.
Yeah.
District 25 is Upper Minnehaha County and all of Boone County, so really I-90 North. And I am an attorney, a small business owner, and my husband is a fifth-generation farmer in Moody County. I'm here tonight because you have some important things happening in your community. I want to hear what's important to you, and I'd like to learn about your concerns.
So, can we just do that when we're done and you can visit with folks?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I used less than my 3 years.
I just wanted people
Look at me
to,
afterwards.
now we have open comments, so, and it's 3 minutes, and I know everybody's here about Smithfield, and that meeting will start when this is over. You can ask, but if you got something you want to ask now, I know I got one right now, and Todd, go ahead.
Coach, this just, kind of lines up with something you guys were talking about with the Just for Kicks and the rental agreement up here at the meeting center. I asked Chad, because I got an email about some scheduling that went on down at Sunset Park for a semi-pro football team coming from out of town. And it's my understanding that there's no fees attached to that. And as Coach like football, I don't really care about that being channeled towards football or anything. But I do think if it's an outside entity coming in, it'd be no different than them renting the facility up here. And you already have a cash trap Parks Board. You know, so, I mean, I think you guys should consider a nominal fee that could just get introduced back into the parks budget to help with whatever, empty trash cans, you know, just whatever.
Yeah. I agree, and I'll let Mike on the Parks Board.
Todd, that will be part of our discussion at the next Parks Board meeting in April.
I don't think you.
Okay, again, if you got something to say, you got 3 minutes. If you want answers from Smithfield, Sioux Falls, and Sioux Falls Development Foundation, those people are here now. We can adjourn the meeting. Right there. Can you state your name and?
Justin Bundy, down here, we get clarification on that de-annexation of land that just occurred 2 weeks ago, or it's being proposed.
I can't hear him, so.
Oh, okay, well, so what's the question on that?
What's the purpose behind that? I guess what's the background, why are we de-annexing it?
No, because the petitioner approached the city and requested that it be de-annexed from the municipality.
Okay.
It's for the house
Yeah.
that got sold. Diane Benson's old house, if you know where that was.
Okay.
So it's for that house. It's gonna be a berm and trees. It's not something that can stop Smithfield, but I would let our city attorney answer that. But for me, it's not a mountain to die on. If public feels we should keep it, and that city of Crook's owned by Sioux Falls Development, and it's a house lot with a berm and trees on it.
So it's no value to the town.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just that house and shed will be moved out of there. They're gonna supposedly try and keep as many of those trees there, but they're supposed to build a berm. And I'll tell you, I went to planning and zoning and asked for a 12-foot high berm instead of 6 foot. And for 12-foot high trees, and plant them closer at 35 feet than 50 feet. And if you wanna look at Amazon and look at those berms, they're probably 20 or 25 foot high. And I'll go back next week and ask for that again. But that lot doesn't make or break what people would like to do.
It has no influence in the height of the berm. It gives us no bargaining chip.
No.
No. I guess we could, I don't know if we could on our
Or de-annex.
lot.
Sorry.
I'm just curious, I didn't know, the annex, but the anything behind it, so I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Why
It wa-
would benefit or not benefit?
I'm guessing it'd probably be $300-400 a year in property for that piece of land. I don't know. That would be recreation, I would think, put under that. But I mean, if that's what people want,
I'm just curious, Did the annex, made no real explanation, so just curious.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, glad, yeah. Anybody else, or we'll adjourn and get the public meeting started? Yes. Can you say your name? I'm so-
Noel Hall. I don't know whether it's here or with the rest that we have it. Will Smithfield be hooking up to the Crooks gas line that's in that right of way?
our gas line is not big enough. We have a 4-inch main. They have a 12-inch gas main coming from the south. It would be nice if we could get some business, but then some people feel like we shouldn't provide anything. So we'll see, but the gas line is only a 4-inch steel line, not made for that size, what they do. But thanks for, yeah, it's something needs to have the air cleared on it, for sure. Okay, well,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
roll call.
Shooty,
Aye.
Arstead,
Aye.
Fire,
Aye.
all aye. Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
Now, if somebody from Sioux Falls, I don't know if it's, would come up here and we'll get started. Introduction. I know Jeff was, there he is. This one went dead.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I'll start it now so it can, yeah.
What, this is Jeff Eckhoff from Sioux Falls, City Planning. And we're going to have an open house. All these guys are gonna be setting up, with the pictures and charts. So you'll be able to ask them specific questions. You can be in a group and ask, however you want to do it, but they're here to give you what you want to know. And I